And then this thing kind of happened out of the blue, relatively out of the blue. Kleiner Perkins emailed me. They led our Series A, you might recall. And so at this point, just to give you a sense of the sort of the financial state of the company, we're doing, I don't know, $50,000 in profit a month, not bad. But we also had raised, those $8 million, $8.1 million in sort of two priced rounds. And then we raised a $2 million bridge from Kleiner at a 4x liquidation preference. So we had around $17.5 million in preferences, which basically means if I sell the company for all of that plus $1, I get $1. Or like my percentage of $1. And that's fine. I mean, I signed up for that. I wasn't like tricked or anything, but it basically meant that like my ownership, sort of two things. One, my ownership in Gumroad would basically be worth nothing. But then two, I sort of still had this promise, right? Like Kleiner had still invested in a company. They were still on the board, and I sort of had this like obligation to like try in at some point. Like I was learning to paint and write, and I moved to Provo, but at some point I would sort of like start this journey again. Or sell the company, right? Like basically I had to get out of the system or get out of Gumroad because Gumroad had signed up for this thing, et cetera, et cetera. So anyways, I got this email from Kleiner. It says, hey, we'd like to sell our ownership back to Gumroad for $1. Pretty good deal. So I said, sure, yes, we can discuss. And so yeah, we had this call and they're like, hey, yeah, just like we said in the email, we'd like to buy back or sell our ownership back for $1. And I said, they were like, are you okay with that? And I said, as like normally as I could, like, sure, yeah, that sounds great. And that's it. Like, there's no like drama. It's basically like Kleiner, I think, had left, sort of reached the end of life. Mike Abbott, our partner at Kleiner, had left. So he, they would either have to find a new partner for the board, or they would have to do that, and then also like just they can take the hit on their taxes and sort of put it up as the loss. And so. Just made sense. Gumroad wasn't really going anywhere, and I credit Kleiner for this decision. It's one of the reasons I talk about it publicly, even though I don't know if there's anything to learn from this, because I think they deserve it for doing something that I really appreciate. Sort of saved Gumroad, but still, so that happened. It's great. A couple other investors did the same, and we bought back a couple other ones. But I was still like running this thing, and I sort of had this story was still in my head of like trying to build this billion-dollar company, like Bill Gates and all these sorts of people. And I recall this conversation that happened. This is one of the other things that you get when you raise money from Kleiner. You get invited to CEO summits and shake hands with Al Gore. Yeah, there was this interview that John Doerr did with Bill Gates, and he asks, this is like when Microsoft is only worth $200 billion and Apple is worth like 300 or 400 and sort of skyrocketing, and the iPhone and all that jazz. And he asks Bill, do you feel like bad, basically? Like, do you build this company that's, sure, it's worth $200 billion, but like this personal computing industry is, I don't know, the value of that, trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars to humanity. Like, how do you feel about that? And Bill says something along the lines of this, that's true. That's what companies do. They create value for the world, and then their revenue model is sort of capturing some segment of that value, and that's sort of what revenue is. And